Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to send out videos, the paid request, this time from Otis. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, PayPal is usually the best bet, or join my Patreon. The links are in the info box over here or there, wherever it's at nowadays on YouTube. But Otis wanted me to look at a film called Love Lies Bleeding from 2024. This year. No kidding. Just this year, dude. But anyway, it's directed by Rose Glass, and considering certain things that happen in this movie, I'm kind of sitting there going, this kind of a better She-Hulk show, or movie, than that She-Hulk show that came out by Marvel, Disney, whatever. I'm like, this is like a better She-Hulk. But it's not, I mean, it's better, but anyway. If you've seen the film, you may get what I mean. But it stars Kristen Stewart, Katy O'Brian, you also have Ed Harris, Dave Franco, and I guess the best way for me to describe it is kind of like if Thelma and Louise with a dash of David Lynch and quite a bit of steroids. It's kind of the best way for me to describe it. And off the bat, I liked the film. I thought it was pretty good. So, yeah, I hate everything. I liked it for what it was. I don't know if it's a film I would rewatch it. I liked it once enough at least. Kristen Stewart, which I've liked her in some stuff. I didn't mind her in this film called Underwater, which I thought was a decent creature feature film. She is the manager of this gym. Do you tell she's not really the most happy with her life? She's unclogged in a damn toilet. There's this lady who you can tell she has a crush on Kristen, but she wants nothing to do with this girl. And you find out her dad is Ed Harris. And you find out later on that Ed Harris runs this criminal business. Meanwhile, we have Katy O'Brian, who is this lady who wants to be a bodybuilder. She's been pumping it up. The film takes place in the late 80s, and she's on her way to Vegas to get to this bodybuilding competition, but she's making these stops along the way on her journey there. One of them being this gym that Kristen Stewart manages. The two of them meet, the two of them talk with each other, they bond with each other. Kristen offers her steroids, which she's not sure at first, but Kristen says, oh, just do one. Katy O'Brian does it, gets a bit more used to it, and they start a loving relationship. So yes, it is a lesbian relationship, but I'm not going to call the film woke or anything because to me, the way the story took it upon itself, the way it was told, the look of the film, the way it's made, it's trying to be more about the story and the characters, not some message about men and this and that. It's not, oh, man-hating, and, well, it's not throwing lines of dialogue of, well, this would be better if a woman did it, and this, Again, it's more about these two, them bonding with each other, them falling in love with each other, and how Kristen Stewart, her point of view, she's kind of stuck in this dead-end life. She, with these little flashes, done interesting enough with this red lighting to give it that mood, that more of a creepier mood. She maybe had to get her hands dirty helping her dad, Ed Harris. Very unique look for Ed, he's a great actor. Loved him in The Abyss, The Rock, directed by Michael Bay, a lot of other films. He's got like this stringy hair on the side and bald on the top. looked at a bit like, I'm trying to think what's the best example. I don't know, but anyway, bald on top, stringy hair on the side, so definitely more of a unique look for Ed Harris. And not only does Kristen Stewart, this deals with her dad, her mom, she thinks died long ago. You tell she's not happy with her job, but also she has a sister, and that's kind of one of the reasons she stays is for her sister. But her sister is with this piece of crap husband played by Dave Franco, which he's been in quite a few stuff, 21 Jump Street among others, and the sister just never gets it, even though the guy beats her up and anything and everything. She still doesn't get it. She still doesn't do anything to change what's going on in her life. So really, like, the only thing Kristen Stewart has going on of any positive note is this relationship with Katy O'Brien's character. And Katy O'Brian, I mean, she really, like, looks pumped up and big, and I don't know what else she's done. But she kind of has the body of kind of like China from WWF, that type of thing. But to be fair, a much better looking face. Sorry, China, rest in peace to her, but just being honest. And it's kind of this journey of how Kristen Stewart, by the end of the day, wants to break away, while Katy O'Brien's character, the more she uses these steroids, the more her mind gets affected to the psychosis, where at times she has these hallucinations. And that's where the touch of David Lynch comes in. Now, it doesn't feel as pretentious in my eyes like David Lynch product. But there's definitely some weird, trippy bits in this, which I'll get to a bit in spoilers. But I thought the film itself was a good-looking film. I thought that Kristen Stewart did a really good job as the Katy O'Brian. There's definitely some pretty sensual scenes between the two. Graham, it's not Cinemax, but it's not shying away from it either. To show their intimacy with each other. The two do a good job showcasing the emotions they need to relegate to the viewer. Kristen's frustrations, Katy's psychosis as she, throughout the film, get more and more bamboozled brain-wise about what the hell's going on with her. God, I really want to get into like the weirder stuff. It's one of those things where at times I kind of wish there's a bit more build up between Kristen and Katy. The good times they're having, it's mostly like they meet each other, they kiss, and then kind of this montage where they're having fun and Katy's staying with Kristen. Instead of that, the montage is fine to keep it, but I wish there was a little bit more of the good times where you see that Kristen will do whatever she can for Katy. But it would have been nice to see a bit more of Katy and her love for Kristen, things that she would do for Kristen, things that she would not give up but push further for Kristen. It seemed like I felt more of Kristen loving Katy more than Katy loving Kristen, although it's still there, don't get me wrong, but like I said, I just wish that there's a little bit more before it hits the fans. But to get more into spoilers starting now, one day Kristen finds out that her sister's been beaten up, is at the hospital, and Dave Franco did it. And she's like, I wish I could kill him, I wish he would die. Meanwhile, Katy is sitting there, and because of her steroid use, and it goes hallucinogenic at times, because there are times like her veins are popping up. Okay, like she was the damn She-Hulk. I'm like, why didn't they get her, this girl, to play She-Hulk? Well, granted, it probably wouldn't have helped because that show sucks. But body-wise, she looks more She-Hulk than what the hell they got with the crappy effects. I'm seeing what else she has done, Katy O'Brian. She was in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and I don't know who the hell she was in that. Because I don't remember her character. What the hell was her character? The leader of the freedom fighters rebelling against Kane. Okay. I barely remember that film, so that didn't really help. Oh, she's in the new Twisters movie. She's... Well... Okay, she's the mechanic, so she's like the 12th build in that, so... That new Twister film. I guess maybe she'll be in the new Mission Impossible movie. But before that, Power Rangers Zenith? I've never even heard of that. And a lot of films I've never heard of. Sweet Girl. Yeah, films I've never even heard of. So she's fairly new to the scene. But, yeah, I did... The way she's buffed up, I'm like... Have someone know what the hell they're doing and have her play She-Hulk. Now, granted, she probably toned down after this movie, and I don't know if they did anything else to make her look like that, or... Yeah, I don't know the details of that, but either way, it looked pretty good, and... Anyway, she decides to say screw it, finds Dave Franco, and beats the ever-loving hell out of him. Now, you don't see what she does, but you see the aftermath when Kristen finds the body and the whole jaw is gone. And then she finds Katy in the shower and you tell she's just out of it. And like the more it goes on, the more she gets deeper into the psychosis. And the body's got to get rid of, and Tristan's like, you need to keep quiet and you need to keep a low profile, and she's like, no, I gotta go to my competition, my bodybuilder. Then she's not thinking straight because this is damn... Which they show that she does a lot of steroids, so, and it's a heightened reality, so it's not supposed to be a documentary in sort. So she goes to competition, pushes Kristen Stewart, says damn it all, while Kristen Stewart is trying to figure out what to do next. And that girl that liked her, that I said near the beginning of the movie, the character's name I think was Daisy, she blackmails Kristen Stewart going, I know something happened with this Dave Franco guy. I want you. And blah, blah, blah. Now, I said there's the hallucination stuff when Katy O'Brien's character is at the bodybuilding competition. She's freaking out. And she pukes. But it looks like... You ever seen Poltergeist 2? When Craig T. Nelson pukes the thing, is like this... That's exactly what it looks like. Which I did like that effect in Poltergeist 2. I liked it here. And then it cuts and then it's Kristen Stewart. Now, I'm sure there's some big meaning behind that. As to why she pukes up Kristen Stewart and her hallucination. I'm too stupid up to figure out what the hell it is, to be honest. So I'm just going to be honest with it. I could BS around, but no, I just didn't get it because I'm too stupid and not... I don't get it, but it was a cool little sequence. I like that they showed the reality where she did puke on herself and the crowd's like, ooh. Because we see what's going on between reality and fantasy. A lot of people, directors, would have not done that and said, no, let the audience, let you guys figure out what they really saw. No, they give a little bit of audience a little bit of clarity with it. And then she turns and looks at the other competitors and sees these weird faces on them. Now you hear the dialogue that they're calling her fatty or something. So now you get a little bit of maybe what her home life was. That, people didn't treat her well. Her parents kicked her out. Maybe she told fatty as a kid. That's why she's so honed up on the opposite, to be steroided up. Beats the hell out of one, gets in jail, calls Ed Harris for help because she doesn't know who else to call. Ed Harris agrees, but then tells her she needs to do certain stuff, like kill Daisy, because she was one of the few witnesses to this crime that Kristen Stewart and them dealt with, and he doesn't want her coming back to him. And like I say, it definitely goes in this topsy-turvy where things are just getting worse and worse and worse for the characters. And again, I wouldn't say I love the film. It's one of those movies that I heard some of the hype, and I guess I thought it'd be even crazier than it was. Or more weirder than it was. But I thought that, again, the actors, I didn't mind the chemistry between Kristen and Katy. And some of the way it was directed and the cinematography. It didn't feel too long of a movie. The more I've seen of Kristen Stewart, the more I liked her. She got a bad rap. Understandably so, but she got a bad rap for Twilight. And no one looked good in Twilight because look at those stories. They suck. Who the hell, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, none of them, if they were in Twilight, they wouldn't look good. Nobody would. Gene Hackman wouldn't look good in Twilight. He did a movie called Twilight, but just not this Twilight. He did a different movie called Twilight. But the more I've seen Kristen and other stuff, she was in, I think it was American Ultra with Jesse Eisenberg. That one I actually liked. That was a nice surprise. Underwater, I didn't mind. And this, I did like the scene where she talks with her dad, and the dad has Katy kidnapped, and pretty much Kristen threatens him, going, well, then I'm going to tell the cops. I'm going to tell the FBI on you. Are you threatening me? Yep. I liked her reaction. I liked her bout of emotions, but at the same time committed because she's in love and she knows it's the right thing to do. But there's still this conflicted of she's afraid, but she don't go with it. Same with her sister, who Kristen pretty much figures out as a hopeless cause because this guy beat the hell out of her, but she's still, I can't believe he's dead. And then she's getting pissed at Kristen when Kristen didn't do anything. And then isn't going to tell her where her girlfriend Katy's at. And is like trying to bemoan stuff to Kristen. And Kristen like grabs her and her bruised up cheek. Tell me where she's at. And shoves her. Just like, why the hell am I staying for this bitch? Fuck this. So it was a nice, like, go get 'em girl moment. Now, one thing that I thought could have been a bit more to it is it was very easy after that for her to find Jackie. It's just, you see her arrive, there's Jackie, unties her, tells her to go. And Jackie's out of, was that character Jackie? Why did I keep thinking Jackie? Yeah, it is. Her character is Jackie. Never mind. Yeah, Katy O'Brien's character's name is Jackie. That's why, dumbass, because you finally remembered her character name. Duh. She's still in her psychosis of the steroid stuff, so she doesn't know whether to trust Kristen or not. But Kristen tells her, "Listen, yeah, trust me, I get out of here." But I wish there was a bit more of a, if not a struggle, but a bit more of a, if not a journey, a bit more of a, for Kristen to overcome to get to Katy O'Brien's character. More hurdles, maybe other people that Ed Harris has that she's got to deal with. I'm not saying it has to be an action film. There's a little bit where this guy tries to kill Kristen and she's got to shoot the guy instead. But I mean, just a little bit more hurdles for her to go through to get to saving Katy O'Brien's character. Now, probably the most surreal moment is, well, other than the birthing scene in Vegas from the mouth, is while Katy is running, Katy O'Brien's character is running, Kristen Stewart gets shot in the leg by Ed Harris. And she tossed her and saying, well, your mom didn't die. She ran off because she didn't want to deal with us and our criminal stuff. And just really get into Kristen's psyche and dig into her wound, and she's screaming. So Jackie, Katy's character, hears that, and the more she hears it, the more she hulks out. Until Kristen and Ed Harris hear something, they see the 50-foot woman. Yes, I know it's meant to be symbolism, hallucination, I'm assuming. But we see she's become the 50-foot, technically the 50-foot woman that grabs and puts Ed Harris down and looks like maybe breaks his arms, maybe holds him down until Kristen puts a gun in his mouth, decides not to do it because the cops are coming, and they hightail it out of there. Now, we never see, which is fine, I was talking about this before, we do see what everyone else sees at the Vegas park, but not here. So, I mean, so whether it was just her being roid rage, which I'm assuming that's what it was. I will say that took me out a little bit, seeing that, where it's like, the other stuff I could buy, the other stuff didn't take me out as much because we immediately see what's happened in reality. So it's like, okay, she's in her psychosis. We don't do that here. So it's a bit more, and you don't expect to see a 50-foot tall woman all of a sudden coming onto the screen as if it's damn, well, Gulliver's Travels, which is funny because there is a Gulliver's Travels reference in the movie. So yeah, I will admit, that did take me out for a bit. Like, what the fuck? What the hell is this? Still better than the Gulliver's Travels with Jack Black, but what the hell is this? So that was a bit too weird. But at the same time, like, no, never mind. That was a bit too much for me. I gotta admit, that was a bit too much for me. That was a bit too silly. I think it just looked too silly for me. It looked too goofy. It looked too comedic. When it's supposed to be the serious scene where Kristen's put the gun to her dad's mouth, but then doesn't because the cops are coming and she can't kill her dad, no matter how much of a scumbag he is. So it just seemed a bit too silly, a bit too goofy, a bit too out of place, even with the hallucinations. That just seemed like just a bit stretched too far. I didn't mind the bit afterward where it's this kind of dreamlike state where they're both running and there's like their both heads are in the clouds, but then like they're coming back to Earth. Like, for some reason I didn't mind that. Granted, it's not subtle, but I could deal with it. They drive off. Now, you think there'd be at least one last conversation about will Katy O'Brian overcome this psychosis of steroids? Because we never really know if she's ever going to overcome this, because the whole third act is her being so out of it. With the bodybuilding competition and her almost killing Kristen Stewart and her hulking out. Like, I wish there was at least one, because they're in the car and there's like a montage of them laughing, but I wish there was at least one conversation where we could see that Katy O'Brian will, maybe it'll die down a bit, or what it more gets out of her system perhaps, or something, like something a bit more tangible about where her mind is at this point. Because again, after the film ends, I'm like, is she still going to be psychotic or not? And is she still going to take steroids? I would assume not, but are they still going to well, she screwed up that bodybuilding competition. Maybe she's just going to stop now? Listen, like, we don't get much closure on that. I think that would have been nice to get more closure. Kristen Stewart, you get a little bit more closure because not only is she heading out of town, she packed up her few things. She got her cat that we've seen through her apartment from time to time. And there's a body in the back, which is that girl Daisy. And while Katy O'Brian's sleeping, Kristen realizes that body's still alive, drives her out to the desert, and chokes her to death. And the reason I say we get a little bit more closure with Kristen Stewart is that all this time she didn't want to do anything with Daisy. She just rebuffed her, but didn't really set her straight, didn't really tell her off, didn't really become antagonistic towards her. She, granted her arm was twisted, allowed herself to be blackmailed by Daisy and do certain things with Daisy because she was blackmailing her. And then she'd even shoot Daisy, the other girl did. But this is finally her moment to rage against the machine and finally do something about this. And I don't want to say man up, but finally take that plunge. So now she's going to be a bit more, if not more assertive, but more willing to face her problems head on, if that makes sense. But again, I wish there was a bit more closure of the two of them. Like maybe Kristen saying thanks and Katy going, no one's going to hurt my baby, or no one's going to hurt my girl, or just doesn't show that Katy, her action shows that she loves it. But I get it. The visual is supposed to tell us the closure of that, but I just wish there was a bit more dialogue verbiage to really sail it on home to me. So overall, I thought it was at times a little bit surreal, decent, weird love story between these two. At least a little bit more interesting than the usual with the bodybuilding aspect and trying to have a little bit of that 80s aesthetic with the lighting and the mood and the weird eccentric stuff. Like Ed Harris collects these bugs, and when Kristen Stewart blackmails him, he's getting pissed and he's punching stuff, and then one of his bugs he grabs and he just eats it. For some reason he just eats it. I don't know if it was established if he ate bugs before, but if not, if so, then I missed it. And if not, it certainly is now. He just eats the damn thing. I'm like, okay. That's a little stuff like that. But I mean, some people view it to be more comedic than I thought it was. Like some people, oh yeah, the movie's pretty funny. I'm like, I don't think it was that funny as some people made it out to be. But I mean, I thought it was an interesting enough story with some pretty decent visuals, liking the two lead actors' performances, and an ending that at least wasn't downbeat or completely lackluster or anything. Yeah, I want a little bit more, but I've seen much, much, much worse endings out there. So overall, Love Lies Bleeding, I didn't mind it. I liked it for what it was. I mean, I don't really do ratings. I don't know if I would give it like a 3 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5. I don't know, somewhere around there. But overall, I did like it. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.